Hello, champions. Have you ever wondered about, hey, um, when am I get to the point where I pay my bills and I still got money left over? Is it going to ever get to the point where, I can just take a vacation for 2 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a whole month, and don't even need any income coming in because everything's already been paid for in advance? Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to do just that. I'm going to show you how to live off the leftovers. I'm gonna show you how that you can live a life, how that you can make so much money until you got too much money and you got money left over based on what you did yesterday, and it's paying all the bills for the day, and even got your bills paid up for the next year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Even got so much left over until when you expire and leave up out of here, and take off from the face of this earth. Your kids and your grandkids even got money where you even left a inheritance to your children's children. I'm going to teach you today how to get rich off the residue. Okay, so let's go straight into the scriptures and let me show you the Bible scripture that supports what it is that I'm talking about. It's in Second Kings chapter 4, verse number 7. And it says, Then she came and told the man of God, and he said, Go sell the oil and pay the debt, and live thou and thy children off the rest. So this is talking about, you say, what is this talking about? This is talking about a woman, she's a widow. And this widow has she's lost everything that she has because her husband died. So he left her a widow, and he didn't have a trust. He didn't have any money. He didn't have a trust. He didn't have any insurance proceeds. He didn't have anything to leave her. So she was dead broke. So not only is she broke, but the state is coming to get her kids. So the state DCFS is coming to get her kids because her husband didn't leave any proceeds. So she's in a bad situation. She's in a serious pickle. So Elisha, the prophet or the financial advisor, comes in and he tells her, listen, you got stuff around here that you're not aware of. What do you have in the house? She said, I don't have nothing in the house but a pot of oil. He said, that's good. He said, take that pot of oil. He said, I want you to go out and borrow as many pots as possible from your neighbors. He said, because you got good credit, so I want you to use your good credit score. And I'm going to teach you all tomorrow how to fund your future. That's how to fund in your future by funding your future. I'm not teaching you that today. I'm going to teach you that tomorrow. So he said, go. He said, and borrow as many pots as you can. He said, and listen, he said, now come back. He said, take and pour oil into all of those pots. He said, and then go out and sell all of that oil. He said, and then and go and pay your debts. And then you and your family, y'all live off the rest. So he said, listen, I'm going to show you all how to live off of this is what God wants for you. He wants you to be able to live off of the leftovers. Are you hearing what I'm talking about? So much until you got nothing, until you good to go for your generation, the next generation, and the next generation to come. This is God's attitude towards you. He's got so much until if you'll take this attitude about life, you'll practice this principle I'm getting ready to teach you, or this series of principles I'm getting ready to teach you, then you'll have leftovers. It won't just be you. It'll be what you got left over. Now, you know leftovers are good. My mother used to make some spaghetti that was so good. I'm talking about, now we was hungry, so it normally wasn't nothing left over. But on the days that we were so blessed, there was some spaghetti left the second day, and it had marinated from that day before. Oh man, it ain't nothing like the leftovers. I'm talking about all 6 fingers. Did you hear what I said? You say, Ricky, we ain't got but 5 fingers. Not when you eat the leftovers. When you got the leftovers, you grow an extra finger. Did you hear what I said? Let me suck on that 6 finger. Why? Because when you eat, the leftovers are so good. And that's the way it is with money. That's the way it is in life. That's the way it is when you do things, when it's a couple of things I'm going to teach you. That if you do these couple of principles I'm going to show you, you will have leftovers. You will have so much of a residue until you'll have too much for yourself, so much so until you can't even contain it in one generation. It'll take 2 or 3 generations down for what you already created, and then you teach them the same thing so they won't run out of stuff either. In other words, assets that never run out of what the leftovers are. This is what the residue is. So you want to get rich off the residue. So here's the word residue. Let me show you what it means. This is the definition for the word residue. It is the past, the part of an estate that is left after the payments of charges, debts, and bequest. What is a bequest? A bequest is money or property that someone has left to a person or an organization in their will. So what we teach is we don't teach wills, we teach trust. And the reason that we teach trust is because when we bequeath something to somebody, when we bequeath something to someone, they actually get it. Because when you have a bequest that's left out of a will, it doesn't go to your kids, it goes to the probate court first. Okay. So before your kids can get it, it goes to the probate court. and it goes to the probate attorney, it goes to the probate judge, and it goes to the IRS, and they just wax your estate up because you bequeathed it out of a will, or you bequeathed it out of a revocable trust. So when you do those two things, then you leave all your money to strangers, but a good portion of your money to strangers, and then your kids get the crumbs. But that's not what I'm teaching you today. I'm teaching you how to keep everybody out your business, make a whole lot of money, and then be able to pass the leftovers down to your kids. And the leftovers is more than what they would have made on their own by themselves if they hadn't been involved in things that you're involved in. So this is what you want to do, and this is what you want to teach your kids. So the first thing you want to do to have something left over, to get rich and have some residue left over, is you got to pay first, and then you can play. But you got to pay fast if you want to play fast. You say, what do you mean, Ricky? What I'm saying is that there are things that the average person just doesn't practice because they don't want to pay for it. They want to live off the leftovers, but they paying money for stuff that don't have nothing left over. You mean what I mean? Because the reason that you got money left over is because your brain is working so well. It's so functional. You understand things that most people don't understand. You're making moves that most people are not making because you have information that you're implementing that most people won't do. So the first thing you got to do to have some leftovers is you got to pay first. All right. You say, what are you talking about, Ricky? I'm talking about you got to pay fast in order for you to play fast. The slower you pay, the slower you play. And you can't play unless you got leftovers. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Why? Because you got to work. You have to work for all your money when you don't have no money left over because you ain't got no time left over. So the only way that you can have time left over is that you got to have money left over because you got money left over, you got time left over. When I got sick and I had COVID, excuse me, when I got sick and I had COVID, and it lasted, I don't know, 3 weeks or something like that. Or I had leftover money from things that had happened previous to that. You say, well, so how did you get your leftover money? I'll talk to you about that in a second. But the fact of the matter is that I had leftover money. So even though I was sick, even though I was like, Lord, man, this is a lot of pain. I mean, this is a lot of pain. I watched TV for 3 weeks. I was watching The Godfather in Harlem for 3 weeks. I don't even really watch TV. And I'm watching this gangster series on Bumpy Johnson. Just because I was in so much pain, I had to do something physically, mentally to keep my mind off the pain. And I was like, but I wasn't in financial pain and I wasn't up under the stress of bills not being paid because all the bills was paid before I got sick because I was paying bills with leftover money. You say, but how did you get so much money, Ricky, in the first place to be paying bills with leftover money? It's because I paid first before I could play. You got to pay before you can play. Say, I paid what? The first thing that I paid is attention. So if you're taking notes, first thing that you're going to have to do if you want to be a person that can live off the residue, off the leftovers, you have to pay attention to people first because it's the way that you pay attention to people that brings the reciprocity back of people paying you with money. So what do I mean? I mean that in my video that you all should have seen by now, it's called How to Listen Your Way to Wealth and how to pay attention to people first. So the first thing the Bible says is that it says, give. This is the principle. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, running over, in good measure shall men give into your bosom. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, running over. What does that mean? Leftovers. Leftovers. That means that you got too much. Pressed down, shaken together, running over. Pressed down, shaken together, running over. What does that mean? That means that I got too much. I hear me. And I know Luther made that cut. He said, never too much, never too much, never too much. But I want to rewrite Luther's cut and say, always too much, always too much, always too much. Listen, it's time for us to be always living off of too much. Never what? You ain't no such thing as never too much. The whole way that God designed our life is for us to be living off of excess, living off of leftovers. We're not supposed to be living off of the money that we make. We're supposed to be living off of the leftover money. But in order for you to accumulate some leftover money, the first thing you got to do is you got to pay before you can play. All right. So the first thing that you have to pay is what? Pay attention. He says, give, and it shall be given unto you. So what does that mean? The first thing that we give people is our attention. So for the last 7 years or so, I've been giving people my attention to them by teaching them principles, a lot of principles out the Bible that some people are familiar with, most they aren't. So, and I've been giving it away freely. All right, just like I'm giving it away to you right now today. See, because given it shall be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, running over. If you want somebody to give you their attention, then you need to give them your attention first. So you pay first and then you can play later. You pay first, and if you pay fast, then you can play fast. So because I've given people my attention, so much of my attention for so many years, then people give me their attention back in the form of checks and money orders and bank wires and all kind of things for the things that I sell to people because I've given them my attention. And the reason that people don't pay another person is because they haven't seen the person around long enough that the person ain't been paying no attention to them. And if you don't pay attention to me, I'm not going to pay no attention to you. And I don't expect people to pay attention to me who I don't pay attention to first. So that's why when I go into a business meeting and to these environments with people, and this is what I teach everybody on my sales team, is that we are interested in one thing when we meet people, paying attention to them. That's all we're interested in. We're not interested in being paid attention to. We're interested in paying attention to the people. You say, why is that, Ricky? It's because given it shall be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, running over in good measure. We believe in Bible principles. That's why we're rich. We're not rich by happenstance or by mistake or by luck. We're rich by default. Why? Because you have to be rich when you do the things that God said to make you rich. He said, give, and it shall be given unto you. What does that mean? That means that it ain't no doubt about it. All right. So if I was you and I wanted to be a rich person, I would stop trying to get people try to get my attention or trying to get the attention of somebody. What I would be doing is trying to learn and find out what's going on with them. That's what I would do because that's the Bible principle. So when we start having conversations with people, then we unravel things and unravel things and unravel things and unravel things. And then we discover how we can really be of value to another human being. Once you discover how you can be of value to another human being, then you start getting paid. Why? Because you paid attention first, and then you start getting paid, and you get paid so much until it's too much money for you. You don't need all the money. So you start doing what? You just living off the leftovers. Everything's already paid. Are you hearing me? If you'll do what I'm telling you to do, if you'll do what the Bible tells you to do, if you just follow this principle, it won't be long before you have too much money for your little bills. So your little bills will be paid, and then you'll be living just over the leftovers, and now you'll have more time to do things with your family and friends and loved ones, and create more money because you got more time to think too. So the first thing to be able to live off the residue or live off the riches of the residue or be rich off the residue rather, and to have leftovers, the first thing to do is to give people your attention. All right. Because when you give a person your attention, then they tell you everything it is you need to know to be able to help them. All right. See, you're not going to get paid unless you can help people. If you don't help people, you're not going to get paid. Nobody's going to pay you if you can't help them because they ain't no better off than they were before they met you. So how do you find out? You find out what the person needs help in, and then you assist them and they help, and then they pay you. All right. Because, and especially when you assist a person with their help without them paying you anything initially, but because you were so willing to put time into them initially. So if you was working with me and you was part of my sales team, part of our sales team, because we're all a group of people, your life would be so different because you wouldn't be trying to sell in a conventional way that people sell things. The reason that they ain't got no money is because they trying to get a person to pay attention to them. And I'm like, ain't nobody paying attention to you because you're not worth being paid attention to until you pay attention to somebody first because you violating a major principle of God. And you violating this principle and it's costing you a lot of money because you're not the talk of the town because you're talking too much. You see, the Bible says, fool is known by his multitude of words. So trying to talk your way into being rich, that just does not happen because it's just not realistic. It's a fantasy world. And if you want to come out that fantasy world and come over into this world where the money is made, then drop all that talking and listen to what the Bible says. The Bible says, be swift to hear and be slow to speak. All right. So what does that mean? It means that you can become a giant of a person by being a knowledgeable person. Are you hearing me? I'm talking about really knowledgeable. See, most people's knowledge is fake knowledge. It's like perpetrating knowledge. That's why they ain't got no money. Because if a person was really knowledgeable, it would be proven based on their bank account. But if they got a low balance in their bank account, that's because they got low knowledge. Because the bank account and the way the person behaves, they both synonymous. You know a tree by its fruit. So a knowledgeable person is not knowledgeable with their own wisdom. Okay. See, a person who thinks they know a lot and they got a lot of stuff in their head, and then when they make a presentation, nobody buys it. I'm like, well, it's because you don't know much about the people that you were presenting your stuff to. And they're like, well, I do know all about them, Ricky, because I say, no, you don't, because that's why that's why nobody buying nothing from you. So stop it, snap out of that. Okay. In order for somebody to buy something from you, then they'll buy something from you based on the fact that you know so much about them until they're just buying from you the answer to their problems that you helped to solve because they told you their problems and you were willing to listen to their problems and you made sure that your interaction with the person was for only for one reason, and that's just to find out what their problem is. See, if you, I'm really telling you all, if you really ought to get this book. All right, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. It'll really help you to come out of the fantasy world that most people live in. Most people ain't got no money. I'm telling you, and until they get some real humility, they ain't gonna have no money either. Why? Because they think they know it all. And the I'm talking about the enemy of growth is knowledge, fake knowledge, the kind of knowledge that I'm like, listen, that book knowledge you got from the school system, even though you was at the top of your class in that school system, you still are not money knowledgeable. All right. You still are not reality. Not you like fantasy knowledgeable. You know, you understand you at like at the top of your class in the fantasy league. All right. But ain't nobody got no money in the fantasy league. The money is over here in the real league. In the real league over here, the reason that we're not rich because we got master degrees and doctors and all that sort of thing. That ain't how you make money. The way that you make money is that you're rich in the knowledge of the person or the clients or the potential customers or the time customers that you're dealing with. You say, why you call them a time customer, Ricky? Because everybody that pays any attention to you is a customer already. They're a time customer, and eventually they'll become a money and a time customer if they so decide they want to buy something, and that's totally up to them. All right. But you can persuade people at a real high level to want to do some business with you. You can persuade people at a real high level to want to become your client so that you can have so much money until you're living off the residue. That can be a fact about you. That can be a fact about your life. But in order for that to transpire, you got to pay first in order for you to play. And you got to pay fast in order for you to play fast. So the first thing to pay is pay attention. Pay attention to people at a real high level, meaning that everything that you're getting ready to talk to them about is going to be about what really means to them. You only talk about things that matter to people who care. And people don't care about what's on your mind. People care about what's on their mind. And then don't you enter into the marketplace being concerned about what's on your mind. Be concerned about what's on a person's mind who has the money in their pocket that's eventually going to switch from their pocket and switch over to your pocket. All right. Because everybody, only reason people take money out their pocket and put it in yours is because you understand them to the point that they say, okay, so now it's time for a transition. You understand me $100 worth, or you understand me $1,000 worth, or you understand me $10,000 worth, or you understand me $1,000,000 worth. I'm going to pay you based on the level of understanding that you have of me. See, that's the way people pay. So a person is wondering why it's so hard for them to make money. I'm like, well, because you don't have an understanding of the people that you're talking to, because that's not your priority. When you go into a meeting with people, your priority is to make sure that you can talk and that they hear what you got to say. And you trying to, and so your presentation is bad because you don't even know what to talk about. Because when you're talking to people, you're a servant. Okay. You're taking orders from people. In order to take an order from a person, then that means that you have to sit up and let them tell you what it is that they want, what's important to them. And then when you react like that, then you'll leave them when you really understand what it is they want and you convey that back to them, then they'll feel you. And then the people will feel you to the tune of $100 or $1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 or 1,000,000. It's just the way they feeling you. All right. Why? Because they're like, oh, you get you get what's going on around here. And I can see the utility and the value of doing business with you. So here's 100, here's 1,000, here's 10,000, here's 1,000,000, here's 10,000,000, here's 1,000,000,000. Why? Because people pay you based on how much they feeling you. And if your bank account is low right now, it's because there ain't too many people feeling you. The people ain't feeling you because you're feeling yourself. So you can say, you know what? I can feel myself, and then I have an unfull bank account. Or I can feel people, and I can get people feeling me, and then I can fill up my bank account. Why? Because people are feeling me. When people are feeling you, then they fill up then that's what fills up your bank account, because ain't no money going to your bank on osmosis. Your money is going into the bank based on the fact that somebody gave you their money, and now it becomes your money, and you put it in the bank. But they gave you their money because they don't want their money. They'd rather give it to you because they want the money that they're going to get back as a result of giving some money to you. Did you get what I said? I said, so when people can clearly see that I'm giving you this money because I don't want it. People give you their money because they don't want their money. You said, that ain't true, Ricky. Oh, yes, it is. People have given me millions of dollars. I ain't guessing. I know what I'm talking about. All right. And I'm trying to help you. So if you want somebody to give you some money, then you need to be able to give them something back that's worth more than the money they gave you. Because they don't, if you finna give me back $100,000 for my 10,000, I don't want it. Okay. I don't want my $10,000. I would rather give it to you. If you're gonna help me get back 100, okay. And if you're gonna help me get back 1 million, then I don't want my $100,000. Why? Because I'm gonna lose $900,000 keeping it. So I won't keep it. I'd rather give it to you. But unless you understand what's going on with me, then you can't. It's just like this. When people send me messages, these text messages saying, "Hey, I like to do this and I like to do that with you." I say, "Yeah, but you don't know anything about me." Okay. And they said, "Hey, I just saw one of your videos," and I say, "This is a robot. I know it's a robot. I know this message that you sent out is a robotic message that you sent out to everybody to try to see if you can get them to do some business with you. And I don't trust you. I don't know you. Okay." And I have no reason to do business with you whatsoever. All right. Why? Because you have not paid any attention to me. And I know you haven't paid any attention to me. I know this is game. I know that you're just trying to get some new business from somebody, but you don't deserve it. Why? Because you ain't paid me no attention. And I know when you ain't paid me no attention, and you start asking me for some money, that's solicitation. All right. That's an indecent proposal. That's not an offer. Are you hearing me? And so I don't do people like that. I don't expect people to give me money that I ain't paid no attention to. I wouldn't even want you to give me any money and I ain't paid no attention to you. Because I'm like, man, you too easy. I don't even want no client that easy. I'd rather have a client that's pay some attention to me so that when we start talking, you know what I'm about. So then when we start getting together, and they like you ain't so shocked about how I get down and how we roll around here, so that we don't have to be having no second, third, fourth, and fifth conversations about the culture that we have. All right. So I pay a lot of attention to people so I can know whether or not I even want to give them some money or whether or not I want to receive their money. See, because money is not a God. See, when money is not your God and you just throw money out of the equation, then you start treating people based on what make the most sense. You know, start treating people based on what how you think you're gonna be able to get into their pocket. Because it's just like you meet a man or you meet a woman for the first time, and you're like, "Hey, how you doing?" They're like, "Great." Then let's go home and go to bed. They're like, "Well, that's just really nasty. Why are you talking to me like that?" Like, because I was hoping you'd be so easy. See, that's the way that message sounds when you send a message to somebody and you're trying to get rich overnight. That's not how this works. The way this works is that you put a lot of work and a lot of effort into getting to have a relationship with people. And you got a relationship with some people now y'all doing business. You developing relationships with some new people that you will be doing some business with. So now 6 months go by and now you're doing business with some new people and you got 6 months worth of folks that you already been doing business with. And 6 more months go by and you're doing some new business with some people and you got a whole year worth of wonderful relationships that are marinating with some other folk and you're doing business with them at another level. And that's how business evolves. It evolves where you start out with one person that starts working out good. They see more reason to pay you more money. So they pay you some more money because they want more money from the new money they paying you. Are you hearing me? And they want to do it. They ain't like you try. They like, hey man, you got something else I can buy at a higher level so that I can multiply the money that I made faster than the first money you helped me to make. Anything else we can do? People start. That's what I do with people who I pay money to. I'm like, you got a higher level I can pay some more money at, so we can make money even faster than the money we made last time. Do you have something for me like that? Good. Then let's do that. See, I don't have to. People who I do business with, they don't have to solicit me because I'm soliciting them to give them the money. And that's what happened. But I don't solicit people to get no money. Are you hearing what I'm saying? I don't solicit anybody to get any money because I don't want to. I'm not a solicitor, and you're not either. You're a king and a queen. You don't solicit people. What you do is that you pay attention to folks. And then you find out what's going on with them. And then you tell them what their problem is. And then you tell them what the solution is to their problem. And then you say, if you want me to help you with your problem, this is the price you have to pay me. And that's how that goes. And then you live off of the residue. Are you hearing me? I gave you some examples of what I'm talking about. So, um, so my friend Jackie, who I sold a house to when I was really doing real estate a lot. So when I called Jackie initially, it was because I was just following up on a referral because the pennies is in a presentation, but the fortune's in a follow up. So I was just following up on a referral from this guy who I sold a house to. His name is George. So George, I bought his house for 22,000, sold it for 48,000 in 2 days. All right, 2 days, sold his house in 2 days. So I came back and I talked to him. I said, George, anybody else want to sell a house around here? So this is when the market was really good. The real estate market was really good. By the way, we're doing a real estate class coming up on the 18th of July. It's $3,000 to come to it if you want to come. But I'm going to teach you for 6 weeks how to find properties on this software around the United States that people are selling, like I found George's house. Don't nobody know that nobody's selling the houses. And you can make some money in real estate. And you don't even need any money down because I show you how to find a buyer and a seller on the same software. And that's what I did. So I never paid any money for George's house. I sold it to another guy who wanted to buy it, and he paid me the money to pay George. Okay, so all I paid, well, me and my student, I had a student that I was teaching to, so we split $26,000 because of that. But I don't ever get excited about a sale because it's all about relationships. Okay, I really want you all to change this wording. Okay, this is a new culture. Okay, stop stop saying that you closing sales. That's just not, unless you really closing a sale. Unless you really are saying, I don't want to talk to this person anymore, because that needs to happen too. But some people, you need to close your sales with them and let them know, we are not doing business anymore. Up under no circumstances. I don't want your money. I don't want to be associated with you. I don't like the way you get down. I don't like how you roll. I don't like your attitude. I don't like your demeanor. You ain't honest. You dig? So I don't want to be bothered with you no more. We didn't have the last conversation we're gonna ever have about some money. Okay. We will not be doing anymore. That's closing a sale. That means that we through with each other. Opening a relationship is when people give you money and more money and more time, more money and more time. That's just opening relationships and blossoming more in the relationships. So I don't like that term. I don't like that closing sales term, because it's like you talking about a cat or a dog or a piece of meat or something. And it's just I don't like it. I just don't like the term. To me, it's a greedy term. I mean, I just closed another sale. I just closed another sale. See, if you was working with me and working in our culture and you told me you closed the sale, I'd fire you. You say, why is that, Ricky? I mean, you mean you closed an opportunity to open up a relationship with somebody unless you got permission to get rid of the person because they was a bum, and that because they ain't worth messing around with. And we all discussed this already, and they like mistreat you, because I don't let the people mistreat my salespeople. If a person call my salesperson talking crazy, I don't say, hey man, the customers are always right. I check on myself personally. I say, hey, I don't know, we Holy Ghost gangsters over here. Do not call here with that foolishness, okay? We treat people real good, okay? And if there's something going on around here with that attitude you got, there's something wrong with you, all right? Because that's not our culture. We're very polite with one another. The way that we talk to each other, the way that we conduct ourselves with each other, we about Jesus Christ over here, okay? So we ain't about no monkeying around and mistreating each other, and ain't no pimps up and hoes down around here. We got plenty of respect for God and plenty of respect for each other, and we have a very delightful culture to be involved in. So you will not bring your monkey foolishness around here disrespecting nobody. So you need to call my salesperson back, and you need to apologize to them if you think I'm going to do any business with you. That's how that go around here. So I protect the salespeople. I don't let people mistreat them. On the other hand, if the salesperson comes in and they're a lazy person and they got a bad attitude, because I don't know everybody I meet, they come in, they had to pay me $3,000 to be a salesperson. All right. To be a salesperson with me. You say, Ricky, why don't you let anybody come in for free? Because I don't want to be bothered with no cheap people, because everybody got money for what they want to spend money on. And I got enough sense to know that. All right. So if a person don't have no skin in the game, I don't let them get involved with me, because I don't trust them. I'm like, I don't trust. If you ain't got no confidence in yourself, I ain't got no confidence in you either. All right. And you're not going to be pimping me. Okay. You're not going to be getting my teaching and my training and my coach. I ain't even got nothing cost $3,000, because I don't even like cheap prices for stuff. I like prices that are high, because people pay attention who pay money. The best students in the world are people who pay money. When they pay money, they pay attention. Are you hearing me? You ain't got to be sitting around begging them to come to school. You ain't got to beg them to come to class. You ain't got to beg them to do nothing. Why? Because they're going to come to class because they want to make their money back, and that's good. All right? Because we associate value with money, with this currency, which is really ain't even nothing but IOUs. It ain't really worth nothing. I just got some silver in the mail. I highly recommend that you all start buying silver and gold. So I'm buying silver coins, I'm buying gold, and I highly recommend that you all do it too. And in fact, I even got a company, they'll pay you even to tell other people about it. So if you're interested in that, just send me a direct message. Okay. So, um, so, so the whole idea today is that live off the residue. Don't live off of your money. Live off of, live off of the money that your money makes. Live off of the money that your business makes. Don't live off of your money. You should never be living. It should always be too much. But the way to get too much is to pay attention to people, and then you'll have too much money. That's the whole message today. If you want to have the residue, if you want to have too much money, start paying attention to people, and then start opening up relationships instead of trying to close a sale. I do turn. I think that's a very petty way to look at people. I know it's what we've been taught. I know it's what the whole industry talks about. Why do you have to be like everybody else? Why can't you be a different kind of person? I'm a rebel. All right. I'm a rebel of the system. I do not like the system because the system, it ain't biblical. And I don't like it. I don't like the way people behave with each other, treating each other like sales. I'm like, what the hell is you talking about? I just closed the sale. That person ain't a sale. I just closed the sale. That's a human being you're talking about. Okay. So we don't have that culture. Nobody comes to me talking about, hey, brother Rick, I just closed the sale. I'm like, oh, you're trying to get fired. You just got rid of, you just closed the sale. What do you mean you just closed the sale? That means you just closed the book on somebody. I don't have no lazy people work with me. Why? Because I'm not lazy. And listen, all you all the teachers and trainers and coaches and everything, you're not lazy. All right. I mean, unless you are, but you're not lazy. So don't allow lazy people to work for you. Don't allow laissez-faire type of people to work with you. Let them know that these are the standards, man. If you don't like these standards, work somewhere else. Okay? Because I'm not going to sit here and beg you to have the same attitude I got. It don't make no sense. Why should you have such a good attitude? And you put all your hard work and your blood and your sweat and your tears into your company and then hire a bunch of lazy bums. Don't do that. Okay? All right. You ain't got time for that. Time is running out, you all. It's time for everybody to get up off their butt and get to work. All right. And be glad to go too. Be happy. Be privileged. You know what I'm saying? To be able to serve another human being. Be privileged to be able to serve the marketplace. Be happy to be in business. Don't be in business all begrudgingly and acting like it's a big deal. And don't act like you're doing nobody no favor when they're teaching you what it is that you did not know. All right. Be grateful. Be appreciative. Be humble. All right. Admit the fact that, hey, you taught me something I didn't know. You taught me a concept that I didn't know. And now I'm able to perform at a level that I couldn't perform at before because of your input in my life. And thank you. All right. So if you hire salespeople and stuff, I recommend that the salespeople pay you. I wouldn't be hiring salespeople that didn't pay. Why? Because they ain't got nothing to lose. And I'm telling you how people behave when they ain't got nothing to lose. They act like it. They act like they ain't got nothing to lose. Are you hearing me? So if you want to charge them some little chumpsy change amount of money, like I'm doing $3,000 for people to come in for me to teach them multi-million-dollar ideas and teach them once a week. And I don't have no classes like that. All right. People pay me $150,000 to be in my inner circle. That's because they get $1 million tax refunds back. So, and they ain't really pay me nothing. They just gave me a tip to give them back a big fat tax refund. But my point is that whatever it is, the reason people pay you, they're not paying you because they're in love with you. They're paying you because of the value that you bring to the table. All right. And I got to go because I got to go to a class with Myron Golden. This guy's a great trainer. I'm going to go in one of his courses that he has for people every week. So I got to get out of here. But yesterday I went to Red Robbins. This is how you get paid. All right. Y'all want to know how you get paid. So somebody put tell me in the chat. I'm going to show you the story before I get out of here. I went to Red Robbins yesterday. Put tell me in the chat and watch what happens to your life. Be like this young man I met yesterday at Red Robbins and watch what happens to you. Okay. So we're sitting there, I'm eating with my daughter Shantice. We're having a good time. We're talking, having a wonderful time. And so they bring at Red Robbins, they bring out some French fries first. And then and so they brought out some French fries. And the French fries, they was kind of hard. They was hot and warm, but they was kind of hard. I was like, I can't eat hard stuff. Okay. I'm 62 years old. My digestive system. If you give me something hard that's fried all hard, it just don't, I just can't digest that stuff. It's not a good experience. So I was nibbling, but I was hungry though. So I'm nibbling a little bit. Shantice, she's hungry. And she's like, so we're having a good conversation because I love my daughter. She runs my business with me and along with other colleagues. But she's just a delightful person. I mean, just pure fun to be around. If you haven't met my daughter Shantice and you decide you want to be part of our business, you will meet her because she's amazing. She really knows how to treat a human being at a high level, full of energy in life. I'm just so glad to have somebody in my family that I can work with so closely. So we sit there, we're talking, we're having a good time. And so the young man comes over. So the young lady is really good. The waitress. She introduced herself. She's just doing things right. Her attitude is good. She's paying attention to us. She brings the food over. My food is cold. My hamburger is cold, and my French fries are cold. So when she came back by, or no, the manager actually brought our stuff over. So I said, young man, I said, he said everything okay. He was very, very, very kind too, very amicable, and extremely mannerable. So he said, I said, young man, I said, this hamburger is cold. I said, and my French fries are cold. He said, oh, he said, I'm sorry about that. He said, I'll take care of that right away. So he grabbed my hamburger, he grabbed my French fries, he took them back. So the young lady came over and apologized while he was gone. She said, "I'm so sorry. He's getting that together for you right away." Okay. I said, "Okay, dear, no problem." Because their attitude is so good that even though a mistake has been made, they ain't making no excuses. I really don't you admire people? Don't you really admire people who, when they drop the ball, they just admit it? There ain't no long drawn out conversation. Isn't that delightful? Put "I do" in the chat if you do. If you admire people, just put "I do" in the chat. Don't you admire that? So you made a mistake, so it's no big, but you admit it. So you're not trying to act like you didn't do it, act like it didn't happen, and you're not making no excuses. And it's not like and some people act like they get angry with you over the mistake they made. Are you hearing me? But I really admire people when they make a mistake, they just admit it, and it's no big deal. They don't drag it all out and have long, drawn out conversations about it. It's so delightful. So this young man is delightful. This young lady is delightful. I'm enjoying the atmosphere talking to Shantice, even though I'm waiting on the food. Okay. So so a few more minutes go by, and the young lady comes by. She says, "Sir, he's still working on your meal. Okay. In fact, he's going to take it off your bill." I said, "It's okay, young lady." I said, "Because I want the food to be hot and fresh. I don't mind sitting there for a few more minutes." I know he didn't just go right back over there. If he came right back out, then that would bother me because I want a good, fresh, hot meal. And I do not eat food that I don't want. And I do not put up with service that I don't like. I just tell a person, "I don't like this. Let's straighten this out." Okay. I don't go along with stuff and settle with stuff because I only got one life. And you do too. And it's time for you to go first class with everything that you do. It's time for you to stop settling for the economy. It's time for you to start going first class with the way you treat people and with the way you allow people to treat you. Because I'm not gonna serve nobody no cold meal. You hear what I'm saying? So he came back a few minutes later with the food, and he said, "Man, I'm really, really sorry about your inconvenience." I said, "Sir, we appreciate everything." So I bit into the hamburger, juicy, delicious, hot, just like I like. Then I ate the fries. They wasn't even not only were they not cold, but they weren't stiff either. You hear me? He even made the French fries better. So now we're having a great conversation. The food is delicious and it's the way it's supposed to be. So when we got done, the young lady said, I said, "Young lady, I'm gonna pay you cash because I'm gonna give her a big tip because I really like the way everything is gone." And they've taken the bill off. I didn't want them to take. I didn't ask them to take it off, but I accepted. Okay, so we get up to the front, and the young man is walking by me. I say, "Young man," I say, you are really going places in life." I say, "You really got a good attitude. You really know how to pay attention to people." I say, there's no way in the world that you're not going to do good in life. I said, "I don't know if you want to keep working here at Red Robins, but they blessed to have you. And if you open up your own company, you're going to be a millionaire." Okay. I said, "We run multi-million dollar companies, son." I said, "If you open up your own company with that attitude, with that temperament that you have right here." He said, "Man, thank you so much." He said, "That made my day." I said, "No, you made my day." Okay. Because it's rare that you see somebody with this attitude and this temperament. People get very defensive when something don't go right, not realizing that that's an opportunity to seize so that you can really get somebody an amazing experience and blow their mind. And that's what happens when you pay attention to people. When you pay attention to people, you'll make so much money until you end up living off the residue. The riches, the residue of the riches is what you live off of, and you'll have leftovers left because you treated people so good until you got a line of people who are waiting to do business with you based on the fact that you treated so many people good last month and the previous month and the previous month and the previous month, and you're not in a hurry with people. The only thing you're in a hurry to do is pay them attention. Now, you hear what I'm saying? It's been a plum pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. I love you all. Ain't nothing y'all can do about that. Have a beautiful, marvelous, spectacular day. And remember that stellar is as stellar does. Now go on out and create some leftovers, okay? I see an amazing future for you all. Create some leftovers.